Well, feminism and the sexual revolution were two radically different movements. Betty Friedan, who had started the feminist movement, called Cosmo, which was promoting the sexual revolution, she called Cosmo quite obscene and quite horrible. The feminism and the sexual revolution in those days were two radically different movements. And so then how did they get moved together?
And tell us about that. You had a front row seat to the impact of the sexual revolution.
Yes.
What role did abortion advocates have in this?
What's good, YouTube? This is KB LaFleur. You can call me KB. Welcome back to another video, man. We got feminist and sex liberations and its origins. But before we get into that, man, do me a huge favor. Leave me a like, a comment, and subscribe. Before we jump into this video, man, I want to go ahead and talk about the video that I just posted. And I just want to go ahead and recant what I said. I said that what the lady did was grooming. If y'all didn't see the video, pretty much a woman, everybody claims the woman was grooming a little boy, grooming her son's friend when he was younger. When, you know, for me, she wasn't. This is why I went back on it, because I was thinking about it and I said, man, to be able to groom a child, you would have to be you would have to have known this person before, known this kid before, and actually groom this person. Teach this person how you want the person to be. End up getting the kid vulnerable to the point where they can pretty much tell you what they want to tell you. You can tell them what you want to tell them without them. Y'all kind of create a friend. Y'all kind of create a bond that shouldn't be there. Y'all created a bond that shouldn't be there out of sexual desires, because, you know, that's what child grooming is. That's what child grooming is. You're looking to mess with that child once that child get of age. That would be grooming. In her case, I say she wasn't grooming. The reason I say she wasn't grooming is because what was she doing that involved her grooming? She just told the kid, hey man, look, and she was probably being funny. Let's just be honest, she was probably being sarcastic with it. And she said, hey, you look cute. Once you turn 25, if I'm still alive, come holler at me. That's why I said it would be a joking, because she said, if I'm still alive, come holler at me. It was probably just a joke. She just saying, hey man, you're a little cute little young man. And like I said, a lot of boys have that fantasy. Once the dude got older, he knocked on a woman's door, you know, and they went on from there. In no case was that grooming. Now, we have this situation where a girl who just turned 18, marry a guy who's in his, I believe, like 30s, 40s, 50s, I believe. He's a very old guy. And I'm talking about he got hell for that shit. Now, she just turned 18 and they got married. That would be considered grooming. Why? Because you watched this girl grow. You knew who this girl was before she turned 18. And you groomed her. Because you married her right then and there. The second she turned 18. That would be grooming. Because I believe I think the guy was her father's friend. So like I said, the guy watched the girl grow up. And I'm guessing probably said, hey, look, you know what I'm saying? This is what you should do. This is the type of girl you should be. This is what men want. That's grooming. She never did that. So, you know, that's all I wanted to say. But as far as this video, man, it's just pretty much about how feminism adapted sex liberation's origins, actually. So, before we get into that, man, do me a huge favor. Leave me a like, comment, and subscribe.
This week's March for Life will be followed the next day by the Women's March. And one of that movement's key principles is full access to abortion. But my next guest reminds us, historically, feminists were pro-life and pro-family. Joining me now is Sue Ellen Browder, journalist and author of the book Subverted: How I Helped the Sexual Revolution Hijack the Women's Movement. Sue Ellen, welcome back to our broadcast.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Let's go back a few years. You were a freelance writer for Cosmopolitan magazine for a very long time.
Right.
Tell us what the atmosphere was like then.
Well, feminism and the sexual revolution were two radically different movements. Betty Friedan, who had started the feminist movement, called Cosmo, which was promoting the sexual revolution, she called Cosmo quite obscene and quite horrible. The feminism and the sexual revolution in those days were two radically different movements. And so then how did they get moved together?
And
Just to throw my 2 cents in there, feminism back in 1800s, well, I believe it was 1840s, that's when feminism started. They wanted to be able to vote. They wanted the right to be able to bring more money into the household, the words to get a job, and pretty much have the same opportunities men have to be able to vote. Women didn't have that. And I could truly say at that time, women were oppressed. Women were oppressed well before 1960s. Well before 1960s, women were oppressed. And this will be the first wave feminism, which I would say a lot of people, even men till this day will say, hey, that feminism was a purest feminism because they were actually fighting for something. Now I don't know what they're fighting for. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what they're fighting for. The feminist movement adapted sex liberation in 1960s. Sex liberation is just pretty much women wanting to be sexually liberated. At the time, they couldn't have sex and go out and have sex and be promiscuous like women are today. Women wanted to be able to have multiple men or be able to sleep with multiple men without being bashed for it, because at the time men could do it. Men always done it. But women want to be able to do it now. And that's where your sex liberation comes in.
tell us about that. You had a front row seat to
Yes.
the impact of the sexual revolution.
Yes.
What role did abortion advocates have in this?
Well, the advocates inserted abortion into the feminist movement on November 18th, 1967 in the Chinese room of the Mayflower Hotel here in Washington, D.C. Before that, abortion was not a women's issue.
What happened? How did
What
that
happened?
come together?
Betty Friedan got conned, if you will. She got persuaded by a man named Larry Lader and his cohort, Dr. Bernard Nathanson, whom you've probably heard
Yes,
of.
I have.
He became pro-life.
He did. He was a convert.
That's right. He was an abortionist.
Catholicism.
That's right. But these two men convinced Betty that she needed to insert abortion in the women's movement's Bill of Rights for all her other rights to be accepted.
How do we establish then feminism with pro-life?
Well, feminism and pro-life, 1/3 of those women in that room that night walked out and later resigned from now over the abortion vote. So those were pro-life women who went on to defend a lot of things that women were fighting for, getting rid of help wanted male and help wanted female ads in newspapers, helping women to serve on juries. Women were being fired for being pregnant. They got the women's pregnancy,
All good things.
all this good stuff. So they fought all of these things, but they were not pro-abortion. You didn't have to be a pro-abortion to win all those things, and they didn't.
And now you look at the Democratic platform, and it is the most pro-abortion platform in history.
Right. They didn't know what happened, and
I agree with pro-abortion. As a woman, you should be able to do what you want to do. It's your body, your choice. I don't think any man in the world, I don't think anybody in the world should have a choice or a voice over what a woman does with her body, unless that man is your husband or your spouse or your partner. And partner mean boyfriend, girlfriend. You know, because if you had a damn kid, I mean, you should be able, as a man, you should be able to have as much say in that kid's life as the woman do. But in a lot of cases, don't. Because once a man has sex with a woman and his semen leaves his body and enters her body, he loses all control over that kid. So, you know, like I said, you know, I believe in women having the choice and picking whatever they want to do with their body. I'm not against it.
Last year, the Women's March here in Washington made it very clear that pro-life women were not welcome. What
Yes.
can pro-life women do to make their voices heard?
well,
year?
I think we need to reclaim the F word. Okay.
Oh boy.
Feminism.
This is okay,
Feminism. Because pro-life feminism is the authentic feminism of the 21st century, and all of these young women who are speaking out for pro-life they're not against women having the right to vote. They're not against women having equal opportunities in education and the workforce. We are the pro-life family feminists of the 21st century, and it's time we called ourselves that.
Sue Ellen Browder, journalist and author of the book Subverted: How I Helped the Sexual Revolution Hijack the
But it's going to end right there, man. It's just a quick little video, just a short little video, just to You know, I had something to react to because something is very informative. You know, just kind of wanted to see what she was talking about, how sexual liberation started in her eyes. What did she see? What did she experience and everything? And you know, and I don't think any woman should get nailed to the cross because she's saying, "Hey, I'm about to have a kid, but I don't want this kid." And then everybody and their mama come thrash her about it. Oh, you don't want this kid. You shouldn't do this shit to this kid. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do this. Hey, look, if she don't want to have that kid, she don't want to have that kid. That's her choice. That is her choice. How are you entitled to somebody else's body? That's me. But first wave feminism allow women to vote, to bring extra money into the household, to be able to work, and do the same things that men did because women were oppressed at that time. With the second wave feminism in 1960, they adapted sex liberation. So not only did you want to be able to vote, make money, and do the same thing that men do, now you want to go over here for women who want to do all of that and be able to sleep with whoever they want to sleep with without any repercussions. Then you got third, fourth, fifth waves. To me personally, that's where, you know, I think I would say after the second waves, you know, that's where it kind of go downhill from there. But you're talking about third, fourth, fifth, sixth. You're talking about your worst waves. Now it's you got women who saying, hey, you know what I'm saying, we should be able to profit off our body. We should be able to do sex work. We should be able to do this. We should be able to dress like this. We should be able to do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and do this. That's not conducive for women at all. That's just only going to make women look even worse. Feminist movement now has no morals, has no code they go by. Just, you know, I mean, these are the same people who believe all women. Even if you're wrong, believe them. Even if the woman is wrong, believe them. Even if she's telling a bull-faced lie, believe them. And that's what feminism has allowed today. Women are able to walk around, look certain ways, and then get upset when somebody say something to you, and it's like, I mean, hey, you can't do that. You can't do that. You have to dress accordingly if you want people to have some type of respect for you. You have to dress accordingly if you want people to look at you a certain way. You have to talk accordingly if you want people to look at you a certain way. But women, you know, today with feminism, hey, you should wear what you want to wear. If you want to wear booty shorts with your cheeks out and a bra and all that, hey, men gotta know not to look. As a modern feminist, hey, I'm sexually liberated. If I choose to want to wear what I want to wear, then hey. If I want to mess with whoever I want to mess with, then hey, I'm sexually liberated. And guess where you're going to see me at? The Amber Rose Slut Walk. Because I'm sexually liberated. If you look at the Amber Rose Slut Walk, there's literally nothing but LGBTQ and a bunch of women who want to be hoes or who are hoes. And who's bringing awareness, hey, if we want to be some hoes, if we want to be some 304s, if we want to be some let us do that because we're sexually liberated. And that's pretty, and you know what I'm saying, and it don't get any worse than that, man. It does not get any worse than that. Me personally, feminism today lack common sense. Feminism today want to take over and take control. What went from, hey, we just want to be able to do the same things that y'all do, to now, hey, we want to take over. We want to take over. If y'all look in Australia, I mean, there's a woman who sat up here and said, hey, men should have a curfew at 6 o'clock. Men should have a curfew at 6 o'clock. What is feminism today fighting for? It's not fighting for anything. It's not fighting for anything. Women come up with all this shit in the world. You know, the first thing that they come up with is wage gap. And it's like, okay, sorry to say, but when it comes down to wage gap, women don't ever take into account the jobs worked and the hours worked. On average, men work 40 plus hours a week. On average, women work 34 to 35, 34 to 36 hours a week. You work less hours than your average man, but you want the same pay. You don't work the same job as this man, but you still want the same pay, and it just doesn't work like that, man. So, but you know, man, hey, it is what it is. You know, we're in a society where everything has to be accepted, even if it doesn't make sense. Even if it doesn't make sense, everything has to be accepted. But before we get up out of here, man, do me a huge favor. Leave me a like, a comment, and subscribe.